Hello, everybody. This is King Tut here. And have you ever wanted to organize a block of code into that one thing? How do I put it? You know, have you ever wondered, to encapsulate a block of code into just one thing, that one line of code that you could use over and over again to execute that same block of code that you have? And you wanted to do it for efficiency. You wanted to be very efficient in your code. Well, there is a way to do it. So there's a thing called function. So function is pretty much executing a block of code that you put into that function, and you could reuse it over and over and over again. So to make a function, you put in def, the keyword, and let's put in print stuff, for example. We're gonna make a function that allows it to print stuff. And then you put a colon, but before we move on, you need to put in a parentheses. The reason for these parentheses here is that's pretty much how it works. That's how you declare a function. But these parentheses don't happen in a vacuum. You could make use of these parentheses. So what you put in inside the parentheses are called arguments. So they're pretty much you need to like declare variables inside there. In Python, you don't really like put int or whatnot like you did in C++ and Java, but you put in variables in it, and you could make use of that inside your function. I'll show you that later. So let's do print stuff and have print line and make it king to rocks. And why am I getting an error? What's going on? Is it print line or is it create function, create parameter, rename reference? I know it's print. Yeah, print line. Huh. Guess they don't like that anymore. Print. All right. And then let's put in the backslash n as an escape sequence. So whenever you had that kind of thing and it's not letting you put in print line or whatnot, you could actually put in the escape sequence instead. Also, the indentation is very, very important. If you do not indent, you're going to get errors because Python really likes indentation. They're trying to make your life easier. All right, so let's make use of it. So let's put in print stuff, and let's run it. So if you haven't please update your Pycharm version to the latest version available because the GUI has been changed and the look of it has changed. So let's right click, run function, and voila. It printed out King Tut Rocks. Now, what if you want to make this function customizable? So as I mentioned, this here in the parentheses is called the argument. And you could declare variables and whatnots. Well, mostly variables. And the purpose of this argument here is to make the function customizable. So if you want to make a function customizable, let's put in word or word. I even type lately. Word. Now, when you use that function right here, you have to input what you need to input inside the parentheses based off of the variable. And it's very tricky because you might not know which variable it is, which variable type. Is it like an int type, like an integer, like a decimal type, so on and so forth? Make your best guess. If it gives you an error, then fix your mistake. That's all I could tell you. So let's put in quotations and let's say King Tut rules with yes, 2 exclamation points. And let's run this. Yep, and it printed out. So there you have it. A very, very simplified way to do functions. So it's very useful when you're making class, very useful when you have a bunch of code that allows you to do stuff. Now, one more thing before I actually like quit before I end the video. What if you want a function that acts like a variable? You might be wondering, what? Well, that's a very effective way of, let's say, if you're doing a game development, you want to debug your player's movement. Make sure there's no bugs. Make sure it's moving smoothly the way you wanted it. So that's why you need to make functions like a variable. So how do you do that? Well, we could take that out, right? And we could allow it to return word. So whatever you put in the word, it's going to return word. It's going to be stored in this function. So once you do that, this is pretty much irrelevant. Just using the function itself isn't going to do anything. It's not going to print out that function. It's just going to return a function. It's just going to spit out the value of it. It's not going to print out on this output right there, on this console right there. So how do we get it to print it out? So you just put print right here, and then when you run it, it should print out King Tut rules. So let's run the function, and it does what it says. Let's change it just for the sake of sanity check. So King Tut returns. Don't know what that means, but let's run the function. Bam. King Tut returns. So there you have it. Pretty much a function without an argument, a function with an argument, and a function that can act as a variable. So hope this tutorial is helpful. And if you find it helpful, click the like button, comment, let me know what you think. And be sure to share this video with other people who are struggling with programming in Python. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe to this video, and I'll see you then.